want you guys to take notes. Note takers are money makers, and just really be present for this call. I will record it, but I don't feel like the energy is the same on a recorded call. So Greta, I'm going to let you kind of take it over, and then we'll kind of bounce off each other if you want.
Cool. Hi guys. I'm so excited to do this. I feel like we haven't touched base, me and your team, in such a long time. It's like crazy how fast, especially this year, has been going. It's already like April's already almost over, which blows my mind. But I appreciate being asked to do this. If you guys don't know who I am part of your amazing lineage of uplines. You guys truly come from like upline royalty in this business. There are so many amazing mentors, even between me and Sam. And I feel excited every time that there's big things coming from this team, because it's so much more than I bargained for. And I feel like this is kind of what I want to start with. And then I do have some notes of some other things that I want to talk to you guys about tonight. But I think it's really easy to see people who are a year, 2 years, 3 years. I'm 4 years into this business, you guys. And I think sometimes, especially if you're newer, it's so easy to see these people who have accomplished so much and forget that we all started with a box of products in the mail and we didn't know anything about what we were doing. And maybe you didn't see that part of your upline's journey, but every single one of us starts with a box in the mail, a hope in our heart. And we're kind of like, okay, like I want to turn this into something and I don't know what it's going to become. I'm 4 years with Monate, but I was with another multi-level marketing company for 4 years before this. If you've ever been on one of my calls, you guys are probably so sick of hearing me say it, but I always say that company was my 4 years of college and this is my big girl career, because that wasn't the place for me. Like, you don't stay in college forever. You learn what you need to learn, and then you get out and you do big things with your information. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. I fell into network marketing by pure luck, I feel like, because I was a skeptic. I was a hater. I was one of those people rolling my eyes every time girls would talk about, I just swiped my commissions card to pay for my gas. I was like, get out of here with that. Like, come on. If this was real, everyone would be doing it. I just dismissed it entirely. I thought, like, no one is believing you, lady. Like, no one believes that, because if it was true, everyone would be making money from social media. This was 8 years ago. Imagine how different the world is now, right? Imagine what has just transpired on this team in the last 4 years. It's crazy. But I don't know what got into me on the day that I was like, you know what, I am just going to try it. I know that I was broke. I know that I was not making ends meet. I know that little luxuries, like our thing, like our night out was Mondays, we would go to Chipotle after my daughter's dance class. I'm like, not knocking Chipotle, but that was it for us. Like, if we could afford 3 burritos after our dance class on Monday nights, we were doing good that month. And there were Mondays that we had to skip it. And that was like our one thing that we were like, okay, well, we don't have to make dinner tonight. We're going to go eat out. That was the only thing that could possibly be extra in our budget. And so something got into me and I was like, you know what? I keep seeing this. I keep seeing this girl talk about this. I keep seeing all the things that she's been able to accomplish with this. I keep thinking about it. What's it going to cost me to find out if I could actually do this? Because my plan was I was going to try it, probably suck at it, and then be like, see, I know. But at least that way I could stop thinking about it, because it crossed my timeline all the time. And I was just like, oh, is this something I could do? And I fell into a leadership position there really quickly, because I didn't realize how many people were in a very similar situation that I was, where they were just looking for a little bit extra. You guys, I wasn't looking to make $5 million. If you would have told me that, I would have thought that was the biggest joke anyone's ever said. I wanted to make sure that I had gas to last all week. I didn't have these like massive aspirations when I started. And what I realized was so many people felt the same way. And they were like, you know, if I could make an extra $100 a month, this would be worth my time. Oh my gosh, if I could make an extra $500 a month, sign me up. And this was all a surprise to me because I was a complete skeptic about it. So when people were volunteering to participate in this company with me, I was like, really? Don't you guys have like months worth of questions like I did? And people were just kind of like, no, like, show me how to make the money and I'll do it. So over time, I sort of, I don't know, like a nice word to say. I got myself stuck there because the bigger you build a team, the less capable you are of walking away. But I knew that I wasn't totally aligned with the product. I knew that I wasn't in love with the corporate culture. But when I started with that company, I didn't know it any different. I didn't know that there are so many different companies and different compensation plans are so much more generous than the one that I was in. I didn't know that companies offered trips and cars and bonuses and all these things that Monat has to offer didn't exist in that company. And to be honest with you, doesn't exist anywhere. So I sort of painted myself into a corner with this company. And then one day I was at a leadership event here in Phoenix. I live in Arizona. And it was all the top leaders had flown in for this massive event, not quite as big as convention, but a big event that everyone had flown in for. And we had a top leader dinner at one of our top leaders' homes in Scottsdale. And we were going around the room. This was my turning point. We were going around the room and they were asking people, you know, you've all been so successful with this company, like you're the most successful people that we have. But there's going to come a time where like you must have accomplished so many things that you never thought that you would. So we want to know what's next for you because you have to keep dreaming. You have to keep reaching for the next big thing. And everyone's going around the room and they're talking about, I want to pay off my house and I want to like buy this, whatever, sports car and travel to Europe and all these things, right? One girl said, I want to have $1 million in my bank account. When they got to me, I burst into tears because that's what I do. I started crying and I was like, I just want someone on my team to be at a dinner like this with me. Because I had been there for 4 years. I could like still cry thinking about it now because I'm so proud of you guys. I was there for 4 years and not one person on my team even got to the level that I was at. Not a single person in 4 years on my team even matched my rank, let alone my paycheck. And it started to feel inauthentic and it started to feel like I was a phony. Because I was telling people on social media day in and day out that you could join my business and you could do what I do and I can teach you. And then, you know, when you're like faced with your own truth at night, you're like, can I? Because no one's ever done it. No one's ever reached the success that I reached here. And so that's when I became determined to find something that everyone could win at. And I didn't know what it would look like and I didn't know when it would come, but I knew that that wasn't my home anymore and I needed something else because I wanted to feel like if I tell you that you could sign up and a year from now you could be a top earner, I'm telling you that because people on my team have done that. And when I tell you that you could out earn me, it's because people on my team do that consistently every month. When I tell you that you can get to the rank that I'm at, or you could earn these elite trips or your car, it's because hundreds of people on my team have done that. And I'm confident in that conviction when I tell people that now. And it's the best feeling in the entire world. So when Monat crossed my path, at first I was like, shampoo, that makes no sense. No, I'm not doing that. You can go to Ulta and buy shampoo. You can go to Sephora and buy shampoo. Why would anybody do that? And then what I realized was I was overlooking the simplicity of it. I didn't have to talk anybody into buying hair products. They buy them anyway. I didn't have to change anyone's lifestyle. I didn't have to like rearrange your day with my products. It was something that's kind of a no-brainer. People, you don't have to over-explain what they do to people. People know what hair products are. They pretty much know which ones they need and which ones they'll like and they won't like. And I missed that part. The simplicity part of it is what I was kind of missing. So I read over the compensation plan and I was like, no way. Like, how could they possibly afford to pay people like this? And they send you on trips and they give you a car. What am I missing here? What's the missing piece? Because the company that I was in was not doing any of that. And our paychecks were nothing like they pay here. But I didn't know that there was options, right? So the day came, and when I decided to join Monate, it was make or break for me, because I was with this other company. I was basically flipping a light switch off on my paycheck and jumping into something that I didn't know if I was going to be successful again. I was like, am I a one-hit wonder? Who's going to want to do this with me? Are people going to want to join me again? Like, I don't even know. And I have 2 kids, you guys. I'm a single mom. So it was the scariest decision I've ever made. And I remember thinking to myself, this is either going to be the stupidest thing I've ever done, walking away from an organization that I built for 4 years, or it's going to pay off like nothing else has before. And it's paid off like nothing else has before. And it's because, yet again, I was blessed with the most amazing people in this business who see the big picture. They're not looking at today. They're not looking at tomorrow. They're not considering if they hit their rank this month, then that means they're good at this. And if they miss it, they quit. They see the possibilities and the long game in this business. And that is so many of you. And so what I hope you guys understand is this company is not like other ones. If this is not your first company, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If this is your first company that you've ever been part of, I hate to break it to you, but you are spoiled rotten. And you're not going to find another place that does the things that Monate does for its field. It just doesn't exist. You guys, I've had people on my team quit thinking that the grass is going to be greener somewhere else, and they come literally crying, begging corporate for their position back, because they're like, I made a massive mistake. Or, you know, there's always going to be like a new shiny penny, and you're like, oh, well, this company, maybe I'll do this. They just aren't the same. I'm telling you that from experience, and not just my own, but experience of people that I know that have left, and they're like, there truly isn't anything like this. So when I was looking for a place that my team could all win, I had no idea that it would look like this. I had no idea that it would be to this magnitude. People ask me sometimes, because Brittany Sauer and Jackie Ortega are both on my team, and they're the number 1 and 2 earners in this company. And people are always like, does that bother you? And I'm like, why in the world would that bother me? I'm the proudest mama upline that there could possibly be. And it's everything I asked for. You didn't see me the night I'm crying at this dinner to my old corporate staff, telling them, I just want my team to win. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And it wasn't necessarily me. It was finding a place where that was possible for everyone. So I'm obsessed with this company. I'm sure you guys know. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what it looks like to have taken this leap of faith. And have you guys ever heard the saying where they're like, take a leap of faith and grow wings on your way down, right? It's like you jump all in and you figure it out as you go. If someone offers you a seat on a rocket ship, you don't ask questions. You get on and you figure it out later. This is kind of what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, because always what the number 1 question that people always have for me is, okay, but how? I'm in it. I got my kit. I'm ready to go. I have big goals, but how? And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about mindset tonight and what it looks like when you take that leap of faith, but your wings aren't fully open, because this business isn't something that happens to you. It's something that you create, and it's something that you cultivate and you build and you work on every single day, right? So let's talk about what it looks like when your wings are not fully open, because you owe it to yourself. You've taken the leap, and now it's time to spread those wings. And I want to talk a little bit about that tonight. So the first way that you know that your wings are not fully open is if you're procrastinating. You're never going to have your wings fully open if you're procrastinating. We sometimes call this analysis paralysis. Maybe you're on this call tonight. Maybe you get on all the calls. Maybe you're doing the trainings. You've watched the videos. You're listening to podcasts. You're reading books that your upline recommends to you. You're active in your chats. But are you putting all of this knowledge to work? Because if you're not sharpening your own skills by allowing yourself to make mistakes and fail forward and take that action, you're telling yourself you're going to go for it, but you never actually take that jump. You're not doing the messy work that goes along with being successful in this business. You guys hear us talk all the time about messy action. It's more important that you are going for it than getting ready to go for it. And a lot of times people think that being on this call tonight, this is you putting in the work for the day. But are you going to leave this call tonight and do something with what you've learned and with how it has made you feel? Or are you going to consider this your hour of work? And what separates the people doing big things and the people who aren't is that messy action, and people being willing to take action that sometimes doesn't work, and creating content that doesn't get the most likes and shares in the world, right? And a lot of times people end up talking themselves out of taking that action because they're overthinking things. So I want to ask you, are you learning and absorbing information and sharpening your skills because you're going to put that to work? Or are you just overthinking everything? Are you the type of person who is saying, yeah, I'm working on my personal development, but that is not income producing? You have to be able to do both simultaneously, or just the action and figure it out as you go, right? And the cool thing about trying things and failing at it is the next time you try something, you're already going to be better at it because you've already learned what didn't work that time. And you're already one step closer to what is going to. So when an obstacle or if that feeling of discomfort comes up, I want you to ask yourself, is this a genuine concern? Or am I using this as an excuse to not follow my passion because it makes me feel scared? Or because this makes me feel uncomfortable? Or because I feel like I'm not good enough at this yet to do that part of it, right? Those are the things that you have to silence. They're not welcome in your vocabulary, and they are not going to help you get to where you are trying to go. Which brings us to the next part, which is your wings are never going to be fully open if you are not focused. And this points towards your habits more than anything. It's really difficult to find your direction and to step into your purpose if you're not focused. And this is not just about your goals, but it's about your plans to get you closer to those goals. It's about the plans that you have to execute all of those things that are going to get you closer to those goals, and making those commitments to yourself and deciding that you're unwilling to break those promises. That's how you stay consistent. Allie Hirschman told me one time, and I think about it literally every day, that the most important thing in her day, regardless of what she has going on, is that she does not break promises to herself. If she sets her alarm clock, that's when she gets up, because that time was the time she promised herself she was going to get out of bed. If she has a list of people that she needs to follow up with, she follows up with all of those people, because even making that list was making a promise to herself. Here's what I need to accomplish today, right? So you have to be willing to not break any of these promises to yourself, and focus is going to help you, you guys. If you're busy, if you're the type of person who's like, I am so busy, I just don't know how I'm going to fit this into my day, focus is how you're going to do it. If you are feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, focus is going to get you to where you need to be. If you're lacking confidence, the answer again is going to be focus. When you know what you have to do and you do it, even on the days that you don't feel like it, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a bit, that's when you're going to start to grow and expand that comfort zone. You're going to hear people talk all the time about stepping out of your comfort zone. And I read something a long time ago that said you're never going to truly step out of your comfort zone, but you can expand it. You can make that comfort zone bigger and bigger. You guys, when I used to go live, I would literally like sweat. I was like sweating. I would sit there and I would be like, okay, I've got like, you know, you like type in your little title and you maybe pick your filter and then like, you know what you're going to say. And I would sit there, like, just push the button, like just push live and start talking. And I would have to like hype myself up to even do it and just be like, okay. And I'd be like talking myself through it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? No one's going to get on. Just do it. Every single time I went live, I had to be like, come on, and like pushing myself, like, just push the button. You got this. And now I don't even think twice about it. Why? Because I've expanded my comfort zone. I've done it so many times that it's not uncomfortable to me anymore. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a bit too when we talk about obstacles, because the only way to get through those feelings is to do it. And I know that it sucks. And I know that it's so easy to talk yourself out of something that feels shitty, because you're like, this feels terrible. Why am I doing this? I am sweating. I am nervous. I am uncomfortable. I hate this. And one day you're not going to, but only if you keep pushing yourself to do it anyway. So that brings us to number 3. Your wings are not fully open if you're not taking action, you guys. Taking action actually resolves your obstacles. Think about this. So many people think that their obstacles are what is stopping them from taking action, and it's actually the exact opposite, because when you take that action, it's dismantling your obstacle. If you're saying, I don't want to make a reel on Instagram because I don't really know how, make a reel on Instagram, and that's how you figure out how, right? Google it, watch somebody else's for some inspo, and then make one. So the problem isn't the obstacle. The problem is your lack of action, and you're using that obstacle as an excuse instead of pushing through it. And that's the only way to get to the other side, right? So the action dismantles the obstacle. That's the important part to remember. And just that living in your purpose, you guys, and doing new things and becoming really, really good at this is not going to be something that happens to you. It's something that you create. And this means that at some point you're going to have to stop thinking about it and just start doing it. And is it going to be hard? Absolutely. If somebody told you that this business was easy, I hate to break it to you, but they lied to you. It's simple. There is nothing that's crazy that anyone can't learn. It is so simple, and it's the same simple things over and over and over again. But is it easy? It wasn't easy for me. I think most top leaders would tell you, hell no, this wasn't easy. Was it worth it? Absolutely. But why would creating your dream life be easy? Why do we even expect it to be? Why don't we come into this business recognizing that this is going to be a challenge and I am up for it? That's what you have to be telling yourself, because it is going to be hard. But successful people have mastered the winning habits that get them through that. And they show up and they do the work even when they don't feel like it. And this is where discipline becomes so much more important than motivation. And this includes your preparation and your practice. And the same simple things over and over and over again is what's going to build your confidence and your sense of accomplishment. You're not going to feel confident in this business until you're focused, until you're taking action, until you're doing it. And all those small wins are going to build your confidence. So often people are like, I don't know how to get market partners on my team. No one has signed up yet. And I'm like, how often do you put yourself out there? How often do you go on your Instagram stories and talk about what this business is and talk about what it's done for you, or what you're excited for it to do for you, or what it's done for other people? And most times people aren't talking about the business because they've already told themselves that they suck at that part. And I'm not good at recruiting, so I'll just talk about the products. You're never going to recruit market partners that way. So this just comes down to building your confidence by bursting through the obstacles and doing it anyway. And it's the only way that you're going to find that sense of accomplishment in that way. The next thing is your wings are not fully open if you haven't recognized what your purpose is. How can you step into your purpose if you don't know what it is? If you haven't recognized it yet, if you haven't identified what your purpose is, how are you going to walk in that purpose? Why are you here? And we talk about our why all the time. I want to reframe it just a little bit for this call. You guys know that if you aren't aligned with the reason why you're doing this emotionally, because for most people, it starts as a dollar amount, right? Why are you doing this? I need an extra $500 a month. Cool. That's pretty much why I signed up too. I needed $500 a month. Guess what? $500 in your wallet doesn't actually mean anything. It's what you're going to do with that money. It's what you need that money for. And more importantly than even that, is how that's going to make you feel when you're able to do what you need to do with that money. For me, it was having some breathing room. It was not having to pull my daughter out of the dance class that she loved, because that would have been the first thing to go in our budget. I think it was $50 a week. And I was like, how much longer can we pay for this? Like, this is crazy. Can't afford this. And more importantly than that dance class was the feeling that I had about potentially having to tell my 4-year-old daughter at the time that I couldn't afford the one thing she loved the most. And so that feeling for me was the drive. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't even about what I was going to do with that money. It was about how all of those things were going to make me feel. And that's what you guys have to identify for yourselves too. And think about, what are your strengths? What skills do you have that need sharpening? How can you serve other people and meet your personal goals by doing those things? We all have individual strengths, and it's the main reason why there isn't a perfect outline for how you can succeed in this business. Trust me, you guys, if there was a magic answer, we'd give it to you. You guys are on our team. The more successful you are, the more successful we are, the more successful we all are. If you've ever asked your upline before, how do I get customers? And she gives you like ideas instead of a formula. It's because what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for your downline either. So there isn't a play-by-play for exactly how you do these things, because we all have individual strengths, and our strengths come most naturally to us. So sometimes they're not even things that we're aware of. Sometimes you'll see somebody who is able to enroll so many market partners, and you're like, I don't understand how you're doing this. And they'll literally say, I don't either. I'm just talking to people. Their network is different. The way they communicate is different. The way they talk about anything else on their social media is different. And so just being aware of what your strengths are, sometimes we take those things for granted, because most of the times our strengths are things that we just have and we might not even know, right? So there are strength tests that you can take online. We just talked about this on our John Maxwell call this morning. Identifying what those things are and the things that you're already good at. You can always ask a friend, what do you think my strengths are? What do you think I'm best at? You can ask your upline, your spouse, your partner. Just take some time for some self-awareness, and then you can use those things to add more value to your business, because the truth is you do need to get better at your weaknesses and the things that you struggle with. But even if you only focus on the things that you're already good at and passionate about, and the things that make you excited and enthusiastic, you're going to see growth in your business just by harnessing those things. So you've heard people say before, I would rather take a 7 to a 10 than a 1 to a 3. And all that means is, if you have a skill that you're already feeling like a confident 7 at, like I'm really good at, I'm not, but Instagram Live, let's say I am, right? I'm a 7 at going live on Instagram. If I could take that 7 to a 10, I now have a skill that is a 10. And I would rather do that than take a skill that's like a 1, like a wine and wash party. Maybe I'm like a 1 around there. I would rather take that. I would rather take what I'm already good at and take it to a 10 than take something that I'm not that good at. Same amount of effort. Now I'm a 3. It's better, but it's not as good as it can be, right? Sam was talking about failures, and I always want to tell people the story of my first wine and wash party, because again, we don't see where top leaders came from. We don't see the things that they've gone through to get to where they're going. You guys, my first wine and wash party, I left in tears. I called my upline and I was like, mark my words, never again will I be doing one of these in-home parties at someone's house. I am mortified. Like, don't even ask me, don't even pretend this is an option for building my business anymore, because I'm never doing it. And she was like, what happened? So this party was so cute, you guys. Like, the girl, I was launching her, she had the cutest little setup and like little drinks, and they were all labeled, and there was like balloons, and she had a good amount of people there. So I was feeling like, oh my God, what a cute party. I'm so excited. And when it came time to start talking about the products and like what people might like, I was talking about the Rejuvenique oil, and this lady at the party started slow clapping me while I was still talking. She was sitting there going like this. I was like, I could feel my face just like getting hot. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't know what I do. Like, do I keep talking? Is everyone feeling like this? Like, am I so boring? What is happening? I was mortified. I think I just like quickly wrapped up what I was doing and I like grabbed my stuff and I left. And when I got into my car, which by the way, I was already already had my Cadillac at this party. And she still allowed me to feel like I was nothing. I was mortified. I felt like it was the worst experience. I'm like, who would treat somebody like that? And also, I've accomplished a good amount in this business already. Like, why am I leaving this party feeling like this one lady's opinion or attitude has anything to do with what I'm going to build with this business, right? But I still let it get to me. And it took me probably 6 months to ever have another party or to even want to go to one. And guess what? Everyone since then has been amazing because it can't get any worse than the first one that I went to. So now every time I'm at a party, as long as someone isn't like just flat out rude to me, I'm like, yeah, it was a great party. Maybe no one even bought anything. I'm like, no, we had a fun time. That was a great party. I would do that again. And it's because I had the terrible experience the first time, and I could have allowed that to put a wrench in all of my plans for this business. And trust me, I wanted to, but I didn't. So that's kind of a good example of using experiences like that and just knowing that it sometimes they're going to happen and it can't really get worse. But you have a purpose here and you have to recognize what that is and how you can step into that and figure out why you're here, why moments like that aren't going to deter you, why other people's opinions aren't going to change what you have planned. We're going to talk a little bit more about that too. I have it on my list. But first, let's talk about staying positive. This is like a good segue, right? So your wings are not fully open in this business if you are not staying positive. Your attitude determines your altitude. I think I saw that on a poster at a doctor's office one time, and I think about it all the time. This path is full of hardships. There's going to be difficulties. There's going to be things that are challenging. We know this. We know that discouragement and doubt are around the corner all the time, and they will creep in if you let them. We know that there's going to be days where you feel like you're failing, even if you're already successful in this business, especially if you haven't gotten a few really big wins under your belt yet. There's going to be days where you feel like you're failing. There's going to be days where you feel uncomfortable and you're going to face rejection and somebody might slow clap you at a party. But guess what? You're not going to overcome these things without a healthy attitude about growth and about winning despite failures. Failure is part of the process, you guys. You can't show me an entrepreneur, a business owner, a successful human being in this world who hasn't had to go through failures to get to their final destination of where they're at. It doesn't exist. If you want, a perfectly smooth sea, this is not the place for you. It's just not how you get to bigger things in your life. It just isn't. And there's not a place in the world where that's going to be the truth for you. So managing your own expectations and disciplining those distractions is the key to growing a healthy business. And you can still be realistic about things. You don't have to be, like crazy toxic positivity and only thinking about those things. I think it's healthy to have a realistic attitude about it. But when you discipline those distractions, this includes surrounding yourself with supportive people. And you guys, this is why we have group chats. This is why we have team pages. We want you to be involved in these things because we know that the closer you are to the fire, the more likely you will be to catch fire. You have to be close to it. And this is why your chats have to be a negativity-free zone. I'm sure we've all been in a chat where the hype is high, the energy is there. Maybe we drop a sale and we're so excited and someone's like, why would they do this sale again? And you're like, you're killing the vibe. You're killing the vibe. Our energy is contagious, positive and negative. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we are not spreading negativity to other people, because our attitudes are fragile and the attitudes of the people around you are fragile. So if you're frustrated about something, or if you don't like this sale that we just launched, or if you have an issue with your paycheck not calculating right, whatever it is, go to your upline about it, discuss it through, but keep those things out of the zone where you could be affecting other people. Maybe they're more fragile than you. Maybe you're thinking, well, that wouldn't bother me if somebody, brought something up in a chat. That doesn't matter. What matters is it could be bothering somebody else, and somebody who maybe is struggling with their belief in this business, or struggling with how to stay positive because it's their third month in a row of not ranking up. And then they log into the chat, and instead of seeing all the people who are being supportive and positive, they see your comment, and it could be too much for them that day. So keep that in mind. And we have to do our part to be spreading enthusiasm, excitement, positivity, and anything else should be a private conversation with your upline or your mentor, or a sideline that you talk things through with, right? So staying active in your team chats and making sure that those remain positive is so, so important. And surround yourself with the people who are going for it, because you want to be around the energy that you are trying to attract. And it's so important. I could talk about this all night long. It is just so, so important. But I know I'm like, Sam, I could talk forever. I have 2 more. Just kidding, 3 more. Okay, the next
all night.
I'm gonna go faster. I seriously feel like as soon as people unleash me on their team calls, they're like, oh my God, this bread never stops. I could seriously just keep going. But let's talk about the things in this business that make you the happiest, because your wings are not going to be fully opened until you have leaned into the parts of this business that you enjoy. This business has so much to offer you guys. This is more than just a paycheck. There is so much that this business can offer you. It is absolutely and truly limitless what you can accomplish and what you can bring into your life with this business as the catalyst. So some people think that the only important thing in this life is being happy, and everything else has to follow that belief. So if this is you, it's important to know that happiness is a state of mind, and it can only be attained when you know deep down that you are on the right path. When do you feel happiest? You feel happiest when you are aligned, when you are succeeding, when you are surrounded with like-minded people who are doing the same things or supporting your ideas and clapping for you, right? So you have to know that happiness is a state of mind, and feeling uncomfortable is part of that process. So if you feel like you're not happy with your results, with your path, with your progress, this is a signal to challenge yourself, not to quit. Sometimes people will be like, I'm just not happy doing this. You would be happy if you busted through those obstacles and you silenced the fear and you went big with it. I promise you would. If you woke up tomorrow, if you're telling yourself today in this business, I'm just not happy doing this, and you woke up tomorrow and you were an MM with a kick-ass team under you and a Cadillac in the driveway, do you feel like you would be happy then? Because you can get there, but you're not going to get there without going through the yucky stuff. It's just impossible. You're going to have to be uncomfortable. This is a signal to challenge yourself, not to quit. If you're feeling like, I'm just not happy, I'm feeling frustrated, I don't know what to do anymore, this means you go all in, okay? So when you start challenging yourself and you work your business daily, you're going to start to notice that the parts that make you feel the most enthusiastic, like you're making a positive impact and like you're adding value to your life and to other people's. You guys, the first time you get a message from someone in your downline and they are so excited about your paycheck, you're going to be reinvigorated in this business. The first time someone messages you in tears about what they're able to pay for, or the first time someone on your team enrolls their first market partner, that's when you get like this renewed energy. And this is why building consistently is so, so important, because even leaders in this business will come to me and be like, I'm just feeling burned out. I've been doing this for so long and I'm just starting to feel burned out. The answer is always to find new people. Why? Because they are going to reinvigorate you. When you have a brand new person who is wide-eyed and excited and feeling like the sky is the limit, that's going to rub off on you. Even if you're an SED, $1 million earner, and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, like my business is just dragging, I don't know what to do. You find new people, because that energy is going to be contagious for you too. Lastly, just kidding, 2 more. Your wings aren't fully open until you are your own judge. You guys, this is a quick one. It doesn't take a long time to say, but you cannot, should not, must not listen to what other people have to say about your goals in life. You have to be your own judge if you want to find direction in life that's going to take you to your final destination, your goal destination. You cannot care what other people think about it. You just can't. And I've heard it all. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've heard it all. You can't care, because you're either going to listen to them and be right back where you started from before you even started this business, or option 2, my favorite option in life, prove them wrong. Show them. Either listen to them and call it off and fold it up, or prove them wrong. And I promise you, number 2 feels better. Lastly, your wings are not fully open if you don't have your blinders on. There's always going to be a new something. There's always going to be, something that's distracting you, something that you feel like might be better worth your time, something that you think might be bigger. You're never going to, it's just like a grass is greener scenario, right? You're never going to get through the things that make this business challenging for you by starting a new one. You're never going to get good at this one and another one at the same time. I tell people on my team when they're like, can I do 2 companies? I'm like, can you ride 2 bikes with one ass? Because I don't think you can. It just doesn't work. You can't divide your focus and expect to succeed in either of them. It just doesn't work. Okay, so you guys, this business requires a lot of trial and error. You're going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to observe what other people are doing and maybe try those things. But you have to find a focus in your business, recognize your values to be able to find your direction and your purpose here. And then you have to choose that purpose despite outside pressure. You have to choose that purpose despite your doubts. And even when it's uncomfortable, and even when you don't want to, and even when you don't feel motivated today, because that's how you're going to reach new levels. So choosing that purpose because you understand the end game and you refuse to be distracted by the challenges of today, because you're seeking tomorrow and the next day and the next day and what your life could look like 5 years from now. Because my life is unrecognizable from 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Even when I thought I was doing well, I don't even recognize the person that I was. And I certainly don't recognize everything that it's brought to my life, the people that it's brought to my life. And just, it's bigger than I can even explain. But John Maxwell said today on our call, my career is what I get paid for, and my calling is what I was made for. And are you maximizing the gifts that you have? And are you giving those people, being bold enough to give those gifts to other people that you find? Because you guys, this business is a gift and you have it in your hands. And if I hadn't have been brave enough to message certain people and ask them if they wanted to do this with me, even when I was scared, I don't know what my organization might look like. It certainly wouldn't be the biggest organization in this company, because when I'm bold enough to do that and teach other people to be bold enough to do that, what we've created is massive, absolutely massive. And how can you not want to offer that to people? So it's just something I think about all the time, and just the power that we have and what we're truly capable of giving to someone, and just knowing that you have something that could truly and fundamentally and generationally change someone's entire life. For literally generations. It's the craziest thing. And I hope you guys know that you are capable. If anyone else has ever been successful in this, there is not a single reason in the world why you couldn't too. There just isn't. And if you're telling yourself that, that's something that you have to take action about and work through and maybe prove yourself wrong too. So that's it. I don't know if you take questions, Sam, or now what happens? I'm thirsty.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I want to touch on two of the things that you actually talked about. And then maybe while I'm doing that, girls can put in the comments and we'll pick like the best 2 to 3
Okay.
questions on what they have. But when you were talking about Allie and how she's really good at self-discipline, right? She has these things that she commits to every single day and she gets them done no matter what. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, our Mel Robbins call over the director's retreat, when she was talking about how we have these doubts that come into our mind every single day throughout the day, whether it's, oh, I really don't want to show up today, I'm not looking my best, or, I don't want to go live, I've gained so much weight, or like all of these different things that come into my head. She says, or I'm so tired, I really don't want to do this call. Like, you think that these thoughts aren't normal, but they are. Every single successful person has these thoughts every day that they have to overcome. And instead of just letting them pile up and pile up and pile up, right? And so you end up not doing the things on your list because you truly talk yourself out of it. You have to recognize your doubts. You have to meet them face on, guys. And you have to look at them and you have to think, okay, can I work around this? What can I do to put action towards this doubt right now? What can I do to, push this doubt aside? All right, you moved on from that one, you're good. This is going to build your character every single day. It's like a muscle that you constantly build, right? So many times today, I did not want to go to the gym. I had to talk myself through this, right? I had to meet myself there, talk it through, and I went and I felt better for it, right? So this is something that you have to work on every single day and realize that these feelings are normal. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in this company. It doesn't mean that you're not good at this. It just means that, you need to work on that self-discipline piece. And then the second one that I want you to say, or that I wanted to talk about, is when you were talking about self-awareness. And, don't answer in the chat, guys, but I want you to think to yourselves, have you guys ever looked at your upline or looked at, mainly your upline and been envious and said like, my business isn't growing because they're not mentoring me the way they should be, or I'm not getting as much help as I should be. And I want you guys to remember that you have everything inside of you that you would ever need to be successful in this business. And that is like, that's on being self-aware. I know you're in a group chat. I know you're in a Facebook page. There is hundreds of thousands of people who have become successful at network marketing and who have put it out there, put it in books, put it in podcasts. And you have to take ownership to go find it. You have to take ownership to make this your business. You're not waiting on an upline to host your calls. You're not waiting on an upline to lift up your team. You're not waiting on an upline to make your events. You are the CEO of your business. Why would you let that depend on another person's actions? It's on you. Okay. So we've all been there. We've all been like, oh, I'm kind of envious. Like, yeah, it would be freaking awesome if someone else worked our business for you, but that's not the reality. And that's not what's going to get you top 10. That's not what's going to get you to SED, right? So the sooner you guys stop blaming other people for, lack of success in your business, or you're maybe not getting all the help that you want or that you need, I want you to take a look in the mirror and I want you to think to yourself, why am I focusing on what I don't have? Look at all the things I do have that I'm not necessarily searching for. So I just wanted to talk about that because I hear that so much.
That is really good. And I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing. And I feel like you have no room to even think about what anyone else is doing if you haven't done the things that you need to get done, first of all, and also we all have someone that we could compare ourselves to. There's always going to be, literally, unless you're Jackie, someone doing better than you in this business. And there's going to be someone who is succeeding more than you out of hundreds of thousands of market partners, right? And we can either take that as inspiration and be like, wow, she gets a lot of views on when she makes an Instagram reel. Like, I'm going to start doing that. Or, wow, she's really knowledgeable about sales tactics. I'm going to start learning about that. And it's always in your hands. And Monat has designed this business in a way where even if you didn't have an upline, you still have everything that you need in your back office, in your market partner training academy, and access to even just the market partner official page. There's no reason why someone should be holding your hand. I feel like it's a perk. Having a really great mentor is a perk. And yeah, we would all want to have the best mentor ever. But if you don't, are you going to let that stop you? Or are you going to be like I was in my first company, Googling everything I needed and watching YouTube videos and just diving in? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to learn all the information anyway, whether it's someone sending you the link or you Googling the link yourself. It really doesn't matter. And this business is more fun with other people, but you can always create your own team dynamic in the people that you enroll too. So I know a lot of times people are like, well, I don't have an upline, or I don't have a good relationship with my upline. That's okay. Create the team that you're after then. Exactly. And you're in charge of that too.
And then I actually had this conversation and I saw it in a question. So we're going to ask you one question and then let you go. And thank you so much for your time. It's so appreciated. Of
course.
So let's say somebody's been in the business over a year, right? They've put their time in, they show up, they do the calls, they do the action. They're recruiting, they're doing the things, and they're not seeing the results. I know this is kind of tricky because it's like a timing thing, it's whatever, but like, have you helped somebody in this way and shown them or said the right thing to them to help them push forward?
Yeah, I think this is actually common, and it happens to people the only problem is like for so many different reasons, right? So it's hard to say exactly what your hurdle might be. But I've had experience with people who, like, we could talk about Allie again, you guys. Allie was MMM, which is not, like, don't get me wrong, this is not a bad place to be stuck, but she was MMM for 27 months. And by the way, during those 27 months of pushing for her next rank, her cousin, who she enrolled with, was the number 2 income earner. And so, of course, every month she's thinking like, what am I doing wrong? Like, okay, like, I'm happy for you, but like, I'm really trying my best. And for 27 months, she said that she burst into tears at month end. For 27 months, you guys, like, can you imagine? Every single month you're like, okay, this is going to be my month, and you go for it, and then you fall short. And she would wake up on the first every single month just as excited as she was on the first of the last month, and she never wavered in her belief in herself and knowing that she had the tools and she was doing the work and it would add up for her. And on her 27th month, you guys, she didn't just rank up. She hit AED. And then like 5 days later, she hit executive director. And before the month was over, she was SED. And she's the only person in the history of this company to sweep the director ranks in 1 month. And why? Because she had built the foundation, because her girls were excited. And guess what else? The last thing I'll say about this is, everything you go through in this business is preparing you and equipping you to be an even better leader to your team. Because congratulations, if you hop, skipped, and jumped your way to SED and you had barely any barricades. But when people come to you and they say, I'm struggling, it's been months since I've ranked up, or I can't get anyone to join my team, you're not going to know how to relate to them. Every single thing that you're going through right now that's really hard, that you're going to have to learn through and push through, is equipping you to be an even better leader in the future. Because when people come to you and they say, I'm so frustrated, you're going to be able to say, I've been there. Let's talk about it, because you've been through it too. So just remember, like, every single piece of this business is part of the puzzle, even the hard stuff. And it's truly making you a better mentor than you might have been without those hard things too.
100%. And guys, think about it. We're only in 5 countries right now. We're going global. You know, like, imagine if you had a team in Australia, a team in Colombia, a team that was all SED. Your life will be changed forever, right? So that's when the purpose comes in, and that's when dreaming bigger comes in, and you realize that, like, it's not about right now. Right? It's not about right now, because what's coming later is it's going to be so amazing, right? And speak about it and talk it into existence and cry sometimes if you have to, because we've all done it. We've all come to points in our business where we just want to pull our hair out, but we have to just ground ourselves and remember why we're here. So
the thing is too, when you get there, you don't care at all how long it took you.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to MM and you scoop up your Cadillac, you're not going to be like, yeah, but I really wish it hadn't taken me 3 years. You're not going to think about it. It's like when you have a baby and you're like, people are like, oh my gosh, going through childbirth, how could you ever have a second one? It's like, because I got through it, now I have this baby and I don't care about the process anymore. I care about this baby and I want to have another baby, right? It's the same thing. Like mamas, it's hard and it's not something that you maybe want to experience. But at the end of it, you would do it again and you don't care how long it took. And it's kind of the same thing.
We love you, Greta. When
I
will
love
we
you.
see you next?
I don't know. Dominican?
Yeah,
What even is that?
I know. Hopefully it's happening. So we'll see you in the Dominican. And
Otherwise, convention. Convention is happening also. If you,
okay.
just like housekeeping, if you guys have convention tickets and you haven't assigned them yet, they do have to be assigned by, I think the 25th, just kidding, the 30th.
I am not good at organization, so don't ask.
Not me giving an announcement that I don't actually know the details to.
The
Your
30th.
convention tickets have to be assigned this month. So if you have a voucher and you haven't assigned a name to it yet, just do that, because convention, you guys, you're not even ready. You're
That's
not
true.
even ready.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, Greta, thank you so much. I recorded this, so I'll send it to you too in case you want to put it in your team page.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We love
Bye
you.
guys. Have a good night.
Bye.